Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackie and welcome to today's fun little reading vlog. Now last summer there was this one show that went absolutely viral over the internet. I feel like it personally broke the internet at this point, and that's the one thing I've watched that I've hyper fixated on every single day, and it's embarrassing if no one else has, because that would be awkward. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to Maxton Hall, the little TV drama series that was going on last summer. And so for today's reading vlog, I thought, might as well fuel my hyperfixation and read the books that inspired this, because while I was watching, I was not aware that it was, taken from a book. Otherwise, I would have read the book first. But, I watched it. I need more Maxton Hall content, and so might as well go back and read the books that inspired this whole show. The first season that is already out at this point, it follows the first book, and so already I know what happens, but I'm going to go ahead and read all three anyway, because the first season actually ended on the biggest cliffhanger, plot twist, whatever you want to call it, and so I need to see what happens next. Before we get into this vlog, I just want to say, you are probably one of 3 people who is watching this video. The first kind of person who is watching this video is probably the kind who hasn't watched or read any of the books, anything Maxton Hall related, and so you don't know what I'm talking about. You're just here for, I don't know, coming along with the trend, I guess, but then you're trying to make up your mind whether or not you want to read the books or watch the series. And before anything, let me just say, this vlog, as much as I can, I'm going to keep it spoiler free, but there will be spoilers at some point, because I do believe there are the kind of people who want to discuss what happens next, and so keep that in mind before you get into the video, because I don't want to be the kind of person who spoils it for you. I will preface before I include spoilers, but keep that in mind and be very careful during the video. The second kind of person is probably the kind who, you've read the books and you just want to see someone else's opinion, which, hi, welcome, that's gonna be so fun. The third type of person is basically somewhat like me. You've watched the show, but basically German isn't like your language or whatever. I think they're out in German only, and so you're here to see what happens next in the books, because the cliffhanger really got you and you want to see what happens next. And that's also me, because I want to see what happens next in the books. So, come along. I don't know if you want spoilers or not. So again, like I said to the first sort of person, if there will be spoilers, I will say so, and then you can skip those bits. But regardless, let's just get into the video. It's going to be so fun, and we can see what happens next. Now, starting off with book 1, I'm pretty sure it's called Save Me. And keep in mind, this book is in German. German isn't my first language, but I do know bits of it, and the bits that I don't know, the best part is we have a Kindle that exists in modern era. And I can basically just use this to translate whatever I don't understand. So that's perfect. I have all of them downloaded in German. I have the first, second, and third, all of them bought in one go, because let's be real, I need them to continue. And so while I will be reading that way, I'm going to explain everything in English, so it's more universal, the approach to it. So Save Me is basically the first book, and it basically follows James and Ruby, the couple from the whole series, throughout the first book. First season of the show is inspired completely from the first book, and I actually finished reading this last night because I wanted to come speak about it, and I wanted to have complete cohesive thoughts before we get into the next 2, because those are the ones I'm really excited for. Since I've seen the series, I already know what happens in the first one, but I had to read it anyway. And I'm so happy I did, because I love being back in this world. Essentially, Maxton Hall, the show and the first book, it follows this girl Ruby. She is at Maxton Hall, this elite university college kind of place for kids, and the most richest elite brats of the entire country come there to study, except she's there on scholarship. So she is the only one over there that hasn't the kind of funding everyone else has, and so because of that, she doesn't want to be noticed by anyone, because she doesn't want to come in anyone's way, because she doesn't have money to bribe her way out of things like other people can, and so she's kind of invisible and hidden into the wall, and she doesn't want to come under anyone's notice. Now there's James, who is this really popular, rich guy, I guess you can call it. This is like the poor girl rich guy trope, if that's what you want to call it, and he is also very popular. Like I said, she's not, so that's also another trope we can talk about. He basically runs the school, him and his group of friends, and he is top of the hierarchy chain in this. And so one day Ruby actually catches James's twin sister Lydia doing something that she probably shouldn't have been doing. Ruby sees that, and then now Lydia thinks that Ruby's actually going to leak that to the media, because James's family is very powerful and influential, and if Ruby leaks that to the media, they'll have a good cover story, and they'll give Ruby money, which she can probably use. And so Lydia is scared. She tells James goes to threaten Ruby not to leak the thing she saw that happened, and then the book goes from there. Because Ruby's a nice person, she wouldn't really do it, but they keep clashing heads, because he's trying to like contain the story or whatever, and then she's trying to just get him to back off, and then soon they're starting to fall for each other. It's a good old romance book, but then also the stakes in it are like a little high because his family is not really that great. At least in the books they aren't amazing, and so that's where it goes. I finished this last night. Like I said, I already loved being back in this world, and I don't regret having watched the show first, because now that I've seen the show, I can picture everyone the way they were cast in the show, and it's so perfect. The only complaint I have is that in the show, Alistair, his best friend, is like a black-haired dude, wherein in the book he's blonde. So apart from that, everything about casting I feel like was perfect. James is strawberry blonde, so that's a little thing that was throwing me off, but otherwise it was perfect casting. I actually feel like I pictured events in the book better because I watched the show first, and so I'm giving this 4.5 stars. I don't know if I'd be more sentimental towards it if I'd, just directly read the book rather than watch the show and then read the book and be already so knee-deep inside the universe and the fan world. But regardless, I enjoyed, and now I'm going to go ahead and pick up the second one, because I do believe I read like maybe 9% of it, and it picks up exactly from the point where the first book leaves us off. So I want to see what happens next. I don't really know because I don't know anything about it, and so let's just get into it. I don't know much because I read most of this at night yesterday, and so I wasn't really paying the most attention, but let's keep in mind it was only the first like 9% of the book. So I'm going to keep reading, figure out what happens in the next one, and I'll come update you in a little bit, hopefully today itself, and then we can talk about what happens in the second book. Hi guys, so it's like a lot later since I updated, as you can probably tell, and the thing is, it wasn't supposed to get this late, but it has, because I was busy watching New Girl, and I couldn't tear myself away from it. So we're here now. I think I finished, or I stopped watching for the day at around like 6 in the evening, and I told myself I just want to sit down and read. I read for a couple hours, and it's so crazy. I'm now 33% of the way through the second Maxton Hall book. I believe this one's called Save You. Now, already to preface, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with giving a summary of the book and my thoughts on it so far, because I'm exactly 33% of the way, like I said, so like a third of the way. And if you don't want any thoughts or any spoilers on the book, because I won't spoil anything, I'll just give you a summary, but it's advised not to listen to this part if you haven't read the first one. So if you haven't done that, just skip over this clip. You can watch from the next clip onwards or whatever, but then now time for the summary. Basically, this book picks up right after the events of the last book. So the crazy thing that happened, the crazy thing that happened in the series, it picks up from there, except the book and the series are different in a way that something else also happens at the book, and that makes Ruby kind of hate James for what he did to her. And so while the first book was a slow burn, this one is more of like a second chance romance between the two of them. So far at 33%, he's trying to win her back over the thing he did. She's trying to figure out life after, because she's heartbroken, she was in love or whatever, and now she's just feeling too down on herself. And there's the background of Maxton Hall College as well, so there's everything going on over there, life over there. There's other things happening with other characters. It's gotten more deeper because there's something happening with Lydia, the sister. There's something happening with her sister as well. So Amber's got stuff going on, her friend Lynn has got stuff going on. So it's all very interesting how much deeper it's gone into it. But honestly, if I have to say something, it doesn't feel like this book was necessary. I'm very much getting second book syndrome right now, and that's so crazy because they're my favorite set of characters. I could read so much more, but I think it's the series that was really doing it for me, not the books exactly. Because the problem with the books is, I don't think it required a second book. We could have just cut out the event that happened at the end of the last one and just left it the way it was. I feel like this is adding on to a series that already got so popular that keep going with it, and that's not really fun, because now I would have definitely put the book down for a little bit so I don't get slumped out had I not been recording this video. And it's good because the first book, it had only James and Ruby's perspectives, but then now we're getting everyone's perspective. So everyone in the friend group, everyone, apart from Ruby and James, we're getting them as well, but we're getting other perspectives, and it's going deeper, which is fun. But the romance between them has gone down so many notches. I can't bring myself to care, honestly. It's getting boring, and I understand what he did, and I can justify it to some extent, but at the same time I don't want her to get back with him. I want her to grow a spine, which she clearly has in the book, but I just feel like it's unnecessary drawn out pining and wanting each other despite the thing he did. So I'm not having the best time right now. I'm trying to keep this as vague as possible if you haven't read the second book, but if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And they're also dealing with the actions that happened at the end of the last book, the one that was shown in the series, and it's crazy the way it's moving on from that. It picks up right after it leaves off in the first book, and that's good, but I'm bored because that's just been happening till 33%. And now finally at like 28% on my Kindle is when Ruby finally went up to James and like confronted him about the thing that happened. And genuinely it just feels like a bit of like a waste of my time. So this book has fallen into second book syndrome. I wish it wasn't that way. I'm going to continue reading and hope for something better, but the romance has fallen down so much. Like if the first book was like up there in terms of romance, now it's just very much gone to the very bottom, and I'm not having the best time. So I'm gonna go keep reading. Hopefully, I'll get through this sooner because I'm not having such a great time, like I keep saying. But there are a couple of like storylines that I want to see where they end up, so I'm gonna keep reading and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Also, really quickly, I wanted to say a few chapters ago they were like making their resolutions for the new year, and it's so crazy because I'm recording this in the beginning of the second week of the new year, and they said they're making it for 2018. So that made me realize how old this book is, and how the first Maxton Hall book, that was really good, don't get me wrong, because recent romances I've been reading aren't hitting, so maybe I need to pick up older books, but then the second one is just not it. Also, before I want to go, I wanted to just say I hate James's dad so much. I can't express it. I just hate his family for the kind of upbringing they've given to James and Lydia. That's all. If you've read or watched the series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so that's it. I'm gonna go keep reading my book. Not having such a great time, like I said, but hopefully things will pick up, because let's be real, I love Ruby and James like regardless, but I'm just hoping it gets better. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys. So it's the next day. If you see me wearing like a navy blue shirt every single day, that's basically what 90% of my wardrobe is made of. So any video, not even this one, if you see me wearing a blue shirt every day, it's a new day, it's not the same day, and I'm not repeating clothes. Just keep in mind, I don't know why my cupboard is like this, but I really like it, so we're just gonna stick with that. And my hair is all over the place because I spent all of this evening watching New Girl. Can you blame me? No, you can't, because the book was so dull, I just cannot get into it. Funny enough, I just hit 78% on the second Maxton Hall book, and I have like a few thoughts to give you before I'm gonna go finish it out for the night, because it says on the Kindle timer that I have like an hour and a half left, and even though I have to go edit later in the night, I do believe I can sit down and just finish the whole thing out today, because I don't want to make it last. I want to be reading other stuff, and might as well get this done with while I have to. Essentially everything I said to you last time stands true. I feel like 5% after last time's update was around the time James started groveling for Ruby. Second chance really came into play there, and I was just like really enjoying it, but then it went down again because it feels too repetitive. Like I feel like if this was just finished off in the first book itself, if it was just that couple in one book, it would have been fine, but this, it's just boring. Like, it's addictive to read. I'm going by fast through it, but I don't give half a shit about this. I'm bored, I want to read something else. I'm literally looking at my entire TBR, contemplating reading it, reading like a chapter of every other book except this, because I'm just not into it, and then watching shows and other things when I could just be reading. And that's really infuriating because I don't want to be doing that, but here we are. And he is groveling like a little bit, but I feel like the way he's doing it feels like he has no boundaries as such. Like, yeah, he knows he should respect what Ruby's asking of him. He's still gonna pursue on anyway and force his way. And then the thing with Ruby is she's very two-dimensional about what she wants. First, she's just like, oh my god, I hate him. And then after that, she's just like, oh my god, I want him. And the whole book, she's just swinging back and forth between the two. And then there's unnecessary drama created. And I feel like I'm only there for the side characters because I want to see what happens next with Lydia, the sister. And that plot line, I don't care about these two, which is so sad because I'm now scared as to what will happen in the show. Like, yeah, there are wholesome, cute scenes. A few chapters ago, he was meeting her parents. It was sweet, don't get me wrong. But then the show, the way it was done in season 1, it makes sense because the book was really good. Now it's gone so downhill. I was looking forward to the show like anything, and now I'm just scared because if the show is as bad as I'm, not enjoying this book right now, this was the most anticipated thing I had to watch whenever it comes out, and so I'm going to be really disappointed. And for some reason, that's the only thing that's bothering me right now, unfortunately, so that's just the way it is. But romance aside, I am enjoying other things like Lydia and Ruby's friendship, the way it progressed. But again, that was a few chapters ago. At this point, there's been like, I don't know, few like easy 40%. Haven't even seen Lydia once. So this is, grating on my nerves. If you introduce someone and you're building a plotline for them, maybe bring them a little more into the book. And now there's a different plotline going on wherein James is neglecting his friends. So, it's not the best time ever. It's definitely fallen into the second book syndrome trope thing, and I'm hoping the third one is better. But, I can't wait to go ahead, finish this tonight. Tomorrow we'll start the third one, and hopefully my opinions on it change. Because originally, I was gonna say in in this video that, you don't have to read it, but you should. And now I'm so like confused because I was enjoying the first one. You should definitely read it if you like the show, but the second one onwards, I wouldn't necessarily ask you to read it because I personally would not recommend. But hopefully the third one makes up for it. I'm gonna go finish the second one now. Let's pray that it has somewhat of an okay ending, because like right now it's just the same monotony repeated over and over again, and this is all in the span of a few months. They haven't even been together for like over a year at this point, which is fine about the time, but they are only 18. They're treating it so seriously. That's just making me wonder how. Like, you guys are 18, it's not that deep. But here we are, high stakes, high expectations of everyone. There's different things to consider, but that's it. I'm gonna go now. I'm genuinely just sick of reading this. I thought this would be like one of my favorite reading vlogs I'm ever filming, but now it's gone so horribly wrong because I'm not into it. So I'll see you guys hopefully in a little bit when I'm starting book 3, and hopefully that really picks up, because this is just not it. Hi guys, so it's update time. It's now the next day. Since the last time I spoke to you, I have gone ahead and finished the second Maxton Hall book, and I've started the third. So I'm gonna speak on that a little briefly, and again, if you don't want spoilers, it's best you kind of skip this clip like a little bit, because I won't spoil it necessarily, but I will speak about things that could potentially spoil it for you. So if you want to be careful and like look out, then this is where you skip. I will see you maybe at the end of the clip. Okay, but for those who stayed, I basically ended up finishing the second book. I feel like not much happened in the romance aspect here, and I couldn't care less. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think that's like a fair rating, but also I feel like this book was very important to like flesh out the characters and kind of give you like an emotional basis to build upon for the third book. Because I'm reading the third book now, and now looking back in hindsight, I am actually kind of happy I read the second one and persevered regardless. But I'll get to that in a second. So this was very important, and now I feel like everyone in the friend group has like some character story built up. There's romances that were like starting in all of them for like the second book that I'm really enjoying at this point. And so it was a good read. It was very necessary in the middle, but I still feel like there could have been parts that were cut short or made just like a little bit better, because James and Ruby's romance was trying too hard and I didn't enjoy it at all. And then other aspects I found it boring. So this is what I thought of the second book. Started the third book, read like 10% last night, and I've read much more now. I actually have a really good feeling that I can finish it today, because I don't have a lot in terms of editing later in the night, and during the night time is when I get most of my reading done, especially before bed. And so really quickly we can talk about the third book, but before that I just wanted to say, in the second book, I believe, James, he told Ruby that he has like a Goodreads account. He opened it for her because she reads manga and she like recommended stuff to him, and he reads on a Kindle before bed. That's when I remembered and I had to tell you. And Ruby has a shared Kindle with her family. Just needed to mention that. That already made my day so much, because I love it when books are mentioned within books, because it's so fun. Now for the third book, again, if you're already here and if you don't know what happens in this, I'd ask you to skip it, because something crazy starts off with it, and you'd rather not spoil this for yourself. But basically, when you're watching the series, the second season, I don't know if it's gonna be boring or what. I know the characters, they've got like good chemistry or whatever, at least on the show, but the way something's gonna happen at the end of the second show, again, you guys can ask me in the comments and I'll spoil it for you. So comments will have a few spoilers here and there, so maybe don't look if you don't want to. But in the second book, something happens, it comes back to bite them, and it's so crazy, it's actually kind of insane. Alright, something from the first book comes back, and it's bad, and then now in this third book, Ruby and Sutton, so that's the teacher, I think, they're like thrown out of Maxton Hall, they're expelled. So you're trying to figure out what went down. Again, there's some like qualms with their relationship, but this time it was solved faster and better, and I feel like we've resorted back to the Ruby and James of the first book. We're getting more romances in this book. Everything's finally going the storyline in the way I wanted it to, and the way I was looking forward to read. We're getting more of Lydia, we're getting more of the other characters. You're seeing progress with everyone, and I feel like the second book really helped in this aspect too, because I've gotten more connected to them, to the point where now I'm celebrating everything that happens with them, and I'm like looking forward to reading it. So that was good, I guess. I don't really know, but I'm still reading it. I don't have so much left. I think I have like maybe halfway or something to go, and layers are being peeled back, secrets and lies are coming to light. It's going a little crazy, and I feel like the author really didn't hold back here. It holds the same amount of like gut punch and like mystery or like plot twisty aspects that the first book had, that the second one was lacking in. And so I'm really happy it's gone this way. And if it continues the same way, we're looking at another very highly rated read. which is better obviously than the second one, but this is the way it is. I'm gonna go keep reading. I think the next time I come update you is probably when I'm like done, so I'll see you then. But you know, I'm gonna try my hardest too, because I have only like an hour of editing, like I said, so I should be, you know, finished with the book. But regardless, I'll see you and we'll talk then. Bye. Hi guys, am I in a blue shirt again today? Yes, that is kind of the theme of the video, if you can't already tell. And you know, I'm done. Okay, it's the next day. I have gone ahead, finished the last Maxton Hall book since the time I spoke to you. I think it was called Save Us. And I've had very like strong opinions, especially about the second book in this video. But I'm coming in here to say all is good. Everything is sorted. This was probably, I think, I'm not sure how I would want to rank the series, but this and the first book were my favorites. I just absolutely hated the second book. This gave me everything I wanted from the third book and, you know, the conclusion to the trilogy that the second book wasn't able to provide. And, you know, maybe we could just collectively say that the second book, you know, parts of it just didn't belong to this world, because there was so much that I didn't like enjoy about it. But the way it got us to where we had to be for the third one to build things up, I am grateful that happened. And also really quickly, I want to say there is so much foreshadowing in this entire series when you look back on it, more than you get in thrillers. All right, there's stuff planted in the first book that comes back to haunt you in the third one, and you know, it's kind of crazy that it's all connected and interlined. One single line from the second one comes back in the third one, makes a lot of sense. That was the ending. Again, when you're watching the series, if you haven't already read the books or whatever, it's gonna hit you like such a train crash, car shock. Don't even know what I'm trying to say with that, but I will say I kind of wish I didn't read the series. I wish I went in blind to the show, because I would have enjoyed it better. But regardless, I am done with the third book. I'm giving this one 4.5 again. I feel like there were so many different romance plot lines between all the side characters that was resolved really quick, but it was a good time to go through. I wish we got more at the ending for like everyone, but you know, it was fine as well. The only thing is they're all 18 and they're promising each other like future and forever, which is why it's a little unrealistic to me, which is why I'd have liked a more extended epilogue. This is the first time I'm saying I want one, but I would have liked something wherein we had all characters in the last scene. But regardless, it was good, you know, chasing your passion, your dreams, even the like little message you're getting at the end of it, even as subtle as it gets, I feel like it was good. But also the ending, there was like a storybook villain coming down kind of moment, and if you've read the books, you know exactly who goes down. Even if you watch the show, the most evil person on the show literally goes down in the last book, because you know, something comes to light, and that was good, keep in mind. But also I was kind of hoping for like a bit of like a redemption arc, because something happened in the second book that, you know, made me feel that way. But then again, I'm not complaining because I like the way it went. And also we got a lot more of Lydia since the last time I updated. Literally, I read this whole thing for Lydia. I'm not even joking, because she was carrying this book. And this other thing I wanted to say was Ember. She is Ruby's sister. She was kind of like in a situationship in this book. Now I'm just like summarizing the book completely. Not really, I'm not spoiling anything. But she was in a situationship, and tell me why the stuff that happens to her, as real as it gets, I have experienced something like that, and reading her point of view made me just, you know, find her so realistic and sympathize and empathize with her and be like, oh my god, the exact same thing might have happened to me some time ago. And so the fact that the author has written that down, crazy. It feels like she was in my head and writing it. So that's another thing I wanted to say that added up to me giving this 4.5. I did like the way the story went in this, and I liked, you know, all characters coming together to fight for what they stand for, and it was good. I feel like it's crazy now that I've finished all 3 books, because I've been reading the first one for so long at this point, and you know, now I'm looking forward to the shows. But when all of this gets over, especially the shows, that's it. This is the end of Maxton Hall for me, and it's so crazy coming back and looking back at it, because like a few days ago, literally like 4 days ago at this point, I wasn't like, you know, aware of what kind of universe I was going to get into, but my obsession has kickstarted again, and I'm so happy with everything that happened in the book, especially like the friendship and romance plot lines, because those were done really well. But you know, that's why I'm giving it like a 4.5, because my 5 stars, they're like on such a high pedestal that, you know, while I do want to nitpick at it, I had a good time, I'm not going to. And you know, it doesn't really hit the standards I set for my 5 stars, but it was a good book regardless. And you know, the series as a whole, I would say you should read it. So yeah, we've reached the end of the question I was asking myself, is it worth reading these? And I'm reading to tell you if it is. If you want to enjoy the show, if you really enjoyed the show the way it was, I would say, and I never say this, watch the show and then read the books, because I feel like that really added to my experience. You know, I could picture everything so much better, like 10 times better, and it was good, don't get me wrong. But then now, looking back on it, I wish some of the plot twists and surprises I know now I wouldn't have gotten to know, so I would enjoy the show better, because I was enjoying that a lot more than the books in some extent anyway. And then the thing with it is, if you're like a whole person like who stands the idea of the fact that you should read the book before the show, you definitely do that. You can like have scenes to look forward to from the book that are exactly done in the show, because it was perfect. Alright, this is one of the best adaptations I've seen, and now I want to go rewatch. But I don't know if this really answers the question, because in my opinion, the second book really pulled the whole series down for me. It's like a 3.5 4-star series for me total, and maybe the average of all the ratings I gave doesn't add up to that, but in my head I know I'm never gonna think about it unless I'm thinking about the show, and the show is better for me. So I don't know how to answer the question. It's your personal opinion if you want to go ahead and read it, but the second one does drag, but keep in mind it is worth it for the third one. So that's how you can go about it, I guess, and that's it. So we've reached the end of today's vlog. It's so crazy. I've finally done reading like all of these books, and I don't regret it, but at the same time it's fun now to be like anticipating the series whenever it comes out, because I can't wait. Genuinely, that's like on my to watch list at the very top for this year or whenever it comes out, because I don't know when it does. Hopefully there'll be an announcement like with the date soon, so we'll wait for that, I guess. But that's it. We've reached the end of today's reading vlog. Hopefully you guys had a fun time coming along with me, and hopefully not too many people are mad at my own opinions, because keep in mind this is just my personal judgment of the book, and so I know it might hurt people in the fandom, but listen, I'm so sorry. This is just the way I felt about it. I am a little disappointed because I expected more from the books, but at the same time I feel like they did hit the mark in some way, and now I'm ranting again. So that's it. I hope you guys had a fun time coming along with me. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube things if you did, and I'll see you guys hopefully in my next video, which is gonna be very, very soon, because I am trying to post 2 times a week. Don't know if I'm still keeping up with that, but I'll see you then. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and bye.